Well met, everyone. I am Rich the Lich. For today's video, I'm going to ramble a little bit about finding a spark, creative fuel, anywhere. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Hearthstone. It's a game, many of us know about it, but I've been playing it off and on lately a little bit. What I want to do is just kind of randomly browse through some of the cards in my collection, and I want to talk about what cards might spark some thoughts of an interesting moment in my D&D game. Okay, so let's do this. Let me let's just go here, neutral cards. Let's pick page 5 and we'll hit crafting tab. So we'll say this guy. All right, it is subject 9. He has a battle cry effect. Battle cry effect is in Hearthstone when he comes into play and you play him from your hand and he hits the board, he does this thing. Draw 5 different secrets from your deck. So, first off, he looks like a dinosaur. Okay, so let's take this guy and let's think about an island. I'm reminded of World of Warcraft and the Isle of Giants, where I think it's the Isle of Giants, where there are dinosaurs. It's a prehistoric place. So let's pretend that we are in a world similar to Dark Sun. It has a little bit of that Mad Maxian wasteland post-apocalyptic vibe. There's just nothing but just stretches of vast tundra and desert. There's not a lot of water. There's not a lot of resources. The goal and the focus, rather than political war and, intrigue and money and, what merchant guild is above another, the goal in a world like this is just survival. And off the northern coast, there is a long stretch, maybe a 30-40 mile stretch of land. Of ocean. And across that ocean, there's a small island. I'm inspired by Forgotten Realms, where I think of the jungles of Chult. So on that island is this jungle area. And similar to in the story of Dune, where the planet Arrakis, the spice is the valuable resource, on this jungle, there is life. Life has flourished here. Now, granted, it's prehistoric, but it's flourished here. And the very essence of what's in that soil, what's in the dirt, what is happening on that island is something that the folk that are sort of in charge and having a hard time surviving on the mainland of this wasteland, they're intrigued by what's going on that island. So they need to get on that island. And what they come upon is this cross between, kind of halfway point between Velociraptor and a T-Rex. So we have a dinosaur, okay? And inspired simply by the picture I'm looking at. We don't need to name it Subject 9. That's more of a sci-fi modern day type of name, but the name is not important. There is the species of dinosaur that resides on this island. They're the only dinosaurs that are on the island. And they're hostile. They're very territorial. They work in packs, similar to as velociraptors do. There's that intelligence. But as they're a little bigger and they've got larger mouth, larger maw, larger teeth, they're certainly more threatening to humans. They're what would be the equivalent of like a Pathfinder pawn. They would be a large-sized pawn. So they're ogre-sized or a little bigger. Maybe even, ogre is a good size, okay? So you've got these dinosaurs that are on this island. This guy is a 4/4 for 5 mana. That doesn't mean anything to me in D&D. I can certainly say, let's just triple the casting cost to 5, so he has an AC of 15, and then the 4/4, let's just give him 44 hit points, okay? So they all have AC 15, 44 hit points. Now, what's the point in all this? Like, why can't I just pick a monster from the monster manual? The point is, there's fuel everywhere, and I think as a dungeon master, as a creative storyteller, someone that wants to always present the best scenario or situation in my game for my group, I'm often planning a lot. I'm always thinking, I'm not saying I dream about it and it keeps me up at night, but I'm always thinking about how to make my game better and what's a cool story. And I'm always, everything I look at, whether it's movies, TV, video games, of course, things like that, Game of Thrones, I'm always sparked there's always a spark there. There's always something that lights a fire that makes me want to then grab my journal or grab my laptop and type something out. There's something that may have occurred that I want to capture, and I want to capture it and then perhaps use that at my gaming table. And in this particular case, you could be playing a game Hearthstone, and I want to just show you how in a game like Hearthstone, there are certain things that you can kind of start to look for that might help you in creating more content for your games. And this is the way my mind works, and that's essentially all this video is just showing you my mind on screen and just what's a process that I might go through. Where the catalyst for this entire video or this type of a video comes from is I'm reminded back many years ago when my daughter was younger, much younger, and she wanted to be told a bedtime story. Naturally, I was the more, between my wife and myself, I was the more creative storyteller of the group. So she said, hey, Dad will tell you your story. And what I would often do to ask my daughter, she was maybe 4 or 5, I would just simply tell her, give me a color, give me like a place or a building, and give me some kind of an animal. And she would say like purple, hippo, and castle. And of those 3 things, I would come up with some story. I would pull back for 30 seconds to a minute and just tell her to hang out, tuck her into bed and whatnot, and then just brainstorm and then come up with something. Now, granted, easy to please, because if I made it entertaining and made it sound cool, she didn't know whether I was, story structure wise, I was just putting those 3 things together, but it made it feel like it was about her. It was about the input she gave, which gave her some more ideas and thoughts for the next night, because she was excited about, I want to tell Daddy about Blue and Octopus and a wizard school like Harry Potter, whatever it may be. And that idea, similar to where an artist can draw on a sketch pad, and you draw, you take your kid's drawing, which has just some loose lines and a loose shape that is either the head of an elephant or it's an apple. You're not sure. But from that, if you have the artistic ability, you can extrapolate and create an entire minotaur, right? And it's just the way that you find, as Bob Ross would say, the happy accidents. You just use things to fuel the creative juices, and from that, you run with it. So we've got Subject 9. As I said, the name doesn't matter. We know that there's these dinosaurs on this island. They have 44 hit points each. They're a beast, so that does matter for, I don't know what spells or range or things like that, but like handle animal may work with them, things like that. I'm going to triple his casting cost, so we're going to give him an AC of 15. What does his ability do, and what does it make me think of in the world of D&D? Draw 5 different secrets from your deck. So, in Hearthstone, I know that secrets they're the one mechanic in the game that allows you to do something on your opponent's turn. This is not Magic the Gathering, where you have instants and cards that you can play when it's not your chance. It's your turn goes. Once you hit end turn, it's his turn to do whatever he does. Okay? So secrets are spells that get put onto your character, and they have different effects. But what happens is it allows you to do something off turn. So what that reminds me of is the concept of a legendary action. These things are not legendary. Okay, they're only 44 hit points and AC 15. Because there's so many of them, I don't want to create an island of legendary dinosaurs, though that would be cool. That may have sparked another idea for a future video. But these things have the concept of legendary actions, where immediately after another person's turn, you can take a legendary action. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the template of legendary actions. All of these dinosaur things have 3 legendary actions. One is an attack. Okay, a regular like claw attack that they would get on their normal turn. A second one is a bite. And then the third one is like a... That's the sound of velociraptors, right? Whatever that call for help is, where now you're dealing with the entirety of the jungle, right? Because you've got thousands of these things that populate this island. So you want to keep them... it doesn't matter if it's AC 15, which isn't very high for high-level adventurers. A bunch of 44 hit point dinosaurs, that can get unwieldy pretty quick. So they can do these legendary actions. And that's it. All I'm going to do is from there is I'm going to refer to the monster manual, and I'm going to look at a normal dinosaur, a T-Rex, and I'm going to get some idea on what its plus to hit value is, how much damage does it deal with a bite. These things aren't big enough to worry about if there's a swallow whole effect, but the fact that they can take their action and claw, bite, and then as legendary actions go off turn, this can become a formidable creature. And what I can now do is take this into D&D Beyond, and I can click on the Homebrew Custom tab and sort of make my own dinosaur. But what I've now done is taken this whole thing, inspired by just a random card I pulled up in Hearthstone, as I said, a game that I enjoy anyway, and meshing the two worlds together of something I enjoy, and how can I take that into the D&D gaming space and with my group and my table, of now, because of the details, the mechanics of what this card does, it gets me creating this new dinosaur that populates this island. And it is now a part of the world that I may be creating. And as you continue to do this type of a thing, you may be inspired by something that might spark a new location, or what a new tower might be like, or what is happening on the interior of a wizard school based on something you saw. In this particular case, of course, we've got a dinosaur, a creature card, a monster card. That makes me think of what kind of monster can I create for D&D. I won't go into it for the sake of video length, but if I was to take a look at a spell, let's say, like this one here, a Book of Specters, draw 3 cards, discard any spells drawn. Something like this is a spell, it's not a monster, so instead of thinking of what kind of monster might this fit with, this is just sort of inspiring me to think about maybe a new spell I create, or this is some global effect, this aura that's, you know, on the inside of some temple. But when I come to the table and I present this to my players, they're kind of like, man, that's a kind of a cool effect. You know, we went into this religious temple to go talk to the head cleric to get some assistance for our adventure, but I didn't expect that's a kind of new ability. Where'd that come from? The inspiration came from Hearthstone. So there you go. That's about all I got for you guys. That's the mind, my mind, on screen, and me rambling with how to create some things off of seemingly unrelated things. That's all I've got for you folks. This is Rich the Lich. Thank you all for watching. Take care.